Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Welcome back to the Quad Pod. You may notice a little different this time around, and that is the fact that Carlo could not make it today, and so we had to recast him with Connor.
I'm Carlo's replacement. It's crazy to be on this side of the screen.
Yeah.
It feels a little bit unnatural.
Yes.
I feel like a dog out of water.
Like, it's a little mixed up, and I'm on this side of the desk now, so there's a lot different happening, but I assure you everything will be the same with the news and all that, and this is it's been a crazy week, in a sense. There's a lot going on, as always, but I think we are both very excited to deliver that to you today.
Yeah. It's there's a lot going on. And it's not great.
It's a lot.
We'll be real right off the bat.
It's a lot of rage bait. I'm gonna start it off real quick with Pam Bondi, which with me and Pam Bondi, my relationship with Pam Bondi is recent of a sense, because I always got like Pam Bondi, Chrissy Nome, and all these other names mixed up, and as of a little bit ago, I finally learned who Pam Bondi is, and it enrages me so much because if you aren't aware, she just recently was at did a congressional hearing with the DOJ about the DOJ, and I listened to portions of it. I watched it, and it is rage-inducing beyond extent. I couldn't believe how bad.
I know you were talking about right when I came into the office, talking about the video, and just like you said, these people kind of like a couple of them kind of get. It's hard to keep track of like who said what, because I feel like it's like with her and Caroline Levitt
As well,
and Christy Nome, like everything they say is just like garbage. And it's just like, how do I keep track of like who said what? And especially the congressional hearing, I believe you said was about the Epstein Files, or there were the victims of Epstein and his group there.
Yeah. So it was about the Epstein Files. Since like 3 million documents just got released and all that, and so it was about that, and just how poorly the DOJ has done this entire thing. And one of the biggest things I saw, I'll kind of mention a few clips here and there, and let me actually go to the exact quote I'm trying to find here, is that so one of the representatives, I should start back in the beginning. So Pam Bondi originally, when she was doing her opening statement, apologized to all them, saying to all the victims, because there was victims there, Epstein's victims at this hearing, behind Pam Bondi, and she apologized to them about everything that they've had to go through and all this and that. And then so one of the representatives said, "Can you apologize to them for how you've done this whole thing?" And what I just found out doing this research is that originally thousands of Epstein thousands of documents had the victims' like names in it, and it compromised them and their identities. And Pam Bondi said that it took them only 40 minutes to get those documents out of there, but still, like, there were names, victims were compromised in this whole process. And what's crazy about that is that not only victims' names are being released and all this and that, but there still are no prosecutions or anything of the actual people who did this. And so the representative, I forget which one right now, but asked Pam Bondi to apologize to them for what the DOJ did, to which Pam Bondi said, "I am not going to get in the gutter for her theatrics," which I mean, like
it's like you told me this quote earlier, like before we were filming, but just like that's such a shocking and like terrible thing. Like amidst the other things that have been said by this administration that are sort of in that realm. Like you essentially did, like, you didn't like really like fully apologize, but like you sort of said that you were sorry the victims had to go through what they did at the beginning. So it's like it's a stone's throw away, just like, and I feel like that's a pretty like human and like moral thing to do, of just like, hey, we made a mistake. We are sorry.
Zero accountability. You'll notice, like, whenever, if you like listen to portions of this thing, they'll definitely be like facts of, you guys did this and it was bad, and they'll find some way to just completely avoid the question, which Pam Bondi got yelled at numerous times for that. And so like, some of these representatives are getting so angry, and rightfully so, because Pam Bondi is like interrupting them throughout the whole thing, and she'll like pick one part of what they said and not even answer the question. And it's It was insane. So not only did she not apologize to them, but later in it, it is believed that she actually lied under oath for saying that there is no evidence that Trump has committed a crime. In the involvement with the Epstein stuff. And
was her wording like? Because I've heard a couple different kind of like versions of it. I just haven't seen the video. Whether she said like there's no evidence that Trump committed a crime or there's like nothing linking him to Epstein, like both are wrong.
Yeah,
but like one is more wrong because like if you're saying like there's no evidence that Trump committed a crime, like he has like 34 felony charges. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
That is not disputable. That just is a fact. And as much as, you know, the linking him to Epstein is also like essentially fact. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
I'm trying to find the exact.
It just, I don't know. It doesn't really change too much of like the outcome. Like, it still is like potential. Is it perjury? Perjury is lying under oath, I think.
Yep. So sorry if I'm butchering this name, but Representative Ted Lau, this is a quote, asked Bondi from Axios, asked Bondi whether any underage girls were present for any parties that Trump attended with Epstein. Bondi responded that, quote, there is no evidence that Donald Trump has committed a crime. So that is a quote. And then Lau immediately accused Bondi of lying under oath, saying a witness swore the president raped a woman and the DOJ failed to investigate the claims, at which Bondi said, quote, don't you ever accuse me. I believe then that was of committing a crime, but I could be wrong. But
how do we respond to that?
Yeah, literally, like it is mind-boggling. The stuff Pam Bondi not only just completely ignores, while later in it, she's like trying to she defends Trump by calling him the greatest president in American history. And so, which like you can hear like representatives laughing, and she she has to say like, this is me kind of paraphrasing, but she's like, can we get this under control? This isn't a circus. And it's like, do you understand what you just said? Like the gravity of your saying that like President Trump is the greatest greatest president in American history, and like, don't put that in the trailer that I'm saying that President Trump is the greatest American president.
Like. Dude, you're not gonna like. I feel like normally when people talk about like presidents' achievements and stuff like that, you know, like in past like administrations like Obama, Bush, or Biden or whatever like that, it was like it was like maybe their pundits or whoever were saying like, oh, the accomplishments, the whatever, but it was never like hail our supreme leader, like he's the greatest, because it's like, okay, Washington, like there's like a fistful of presidents who didn't build like concentration camps, like you know what I mean, like,
dude. And I
don't even know,
but numerous times representatives had to how it kind of works. I don't know if you've ever watched one. I kind of just getting the basis from when I watch is that. So each representative gets 5 minutes to talk, and in that 5 minutes they ask questions. And I believe that that while the Pam Bondi would be responding, that is also included in their 5 minutes. If not, I think she gets 30 seconds. But there's numerous times where they're yelling at the head chairman to get their time back because Pam Bondi's constantly interrupting or not answering the question. Like she'll just start talking, they'll be like, "Can I have my time back?" Because they know they only get 5 minutes. They want to use it like as rightfully as they can, and it's just like, I mean, like, and also they a lot of them kept saying that like they're not asking trick questions. That was a huge part of it.
Yeah,
it's like they're literally asking like yes or no questions and just getting nothing, and it is honestly insane.
It's like the opposite of like journalism sort of thing where you're like trying to ask like open-ended questions.
Yeah.
This is like, I just need you to tell me like the fact of like what it is, or just admit to whatever.
Yeah.
She just won't. And specifically one of the things you said where I forget like the example you gave, but where she just is the thing about like there's no evidence Trump committed a crime. It's like that's just not a relevant answer to what was asked. Like, do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, like any opportunity to say like no, that's not. They're never gonna say yes or no. They're never gonna give something like definite. They're giving something they can later argue that that's not what they meant or that's not what they said.
Yeah.
Like with the whole you've even seen it recently. We talked about, I think, last episode with Trump saying at the I believe it's called the prayer breakfast, where he was like, people are like misconstruing the way I said like I'm not gonna make it into heaven or something. He's like, I didn't mean it was a joke.
Oh,
you didn't see the irony.
Funny.
Yeah, like in that sense, because like they never say anything exact. There's always some way that they can manipulate you into thinking something else in the future. But I actually had a good quote here from from Jamie Raskin, one of the representative from Maryland.
Are talking like Truth Social level quote?
No,
or we're talking like
this is at the hearing.
Oh, okay, cool.
Because the quote from NPR. This is Democrats try to turn Bondi's claim of weaponization around, accusing the DOJ of carrying out Trump's political agenda. This is the quote from Raskin. You turn the People's Department of Justice into Trump's instrument of revenge. Trump orders up prosecutions like pizza, and you deliver every time. Now, this is kind of bars. I'm not gonna lie. Like, like, I just think that's such that's a funny way to word it, but
yeah,
still
like,
truthful. Like
a creative but like clever like takedown.
Yeah, I like to think he came up with that on the spot. Also because, I actually recommend you at least listen to 2 or 3 of these like the 5 minutes that a representative got, because you'll notice that at the end of them when they have literally just destroyed her, like they've literally just like made these claims and she cannot like dispute any of it. All she can do is deny what is it like avoid it in a sense.
I like deflect.
Deflect is the word. Yeah, deflect is the word for him. She'll immediately. You can tell she had a list of all the representatives and something like to accuse them of or something bad they did. Because at the end she'll be like, "Well, it's crazy you're mentioning this because you backed this person for this reason," and it's something like bad.
It's like you're not the one in the hearing.
Exactly.
Like you or like you know what I mean? Like it's like it not the time and place. Like even if those things, even if in some kind of sort of crazy way they have some like validity to them, because obviously like, some like politicians do like whack shit all the time.
Yeah.
Like you're under it's not investigation, but you know what I mean. Like you know what I mean. Like you're being questioned.
Yeah.
Like,
there's one part that was actually really funny because
that's sorry.
No, go,
that's such a like a token. I feel like display of like Trump administration or Trump era. Like logic is just like I can be at a hearing where I'm being questioned by Congress and I'm gonna somehow make it about you.
Yeah, exactly. It'll never be about them unless it's a good thing. They'll also always like, I swear to God, this is like a catchphrase they have at this point. They're like, well, like whenever you're talking about something bad that Trump did, like you're not even recognizing all the good he's done. Like there's always like, let's not focus on the bad. Let's just focus on all the good he's doing. Which is, I honestly don't even know what they'd list for that. Like, because we have some other stuff with Trump coming up they're just peachy. But I forget exactly what I was going to say. But there was one point in particular where I wish I could remember the representative. There was so many representatives that talk. I can't exactly remember. But one of them was like, he literally just yelled at Pam Bondi because she's like, the quote I said earlier, I'm not asking trick questions here. I just want answers. And she ended up just yielding her time. I believe she yielded her time. And Pam Bondi got some time to respond after. She got like 20, 30 seconds to respond to all of that after. To which she accused the female representative of being anti-Semitic. And like the representative like literally said that her grandfather died in the Holocaust. And it's like, so you're going to accuse me of being anti-Semitic? Like,
yeah, is Pam Bondi Jewish?
I don't know. I don't know, and I like it like literally it just like I'm saying being the anti-Semitic stuff had absolutely nothing to do with anything. It's just like, but it was literally like if I like won an argument with you and like I beat you in an argument and you're like, but you're anti-Semitic. Like it's like literally just had nothing to do with anything.
I was gonna say, even if she is, not to interrupt, but even if she is, like, there's no point in
exactly.
That doesn't mean anything.
It didn't like
that's not what this. Even if that was fully true, like that's not what this is about.
Yeah, like literally you. It's just ridiculous, and
also it was probably something about like supporting like Gaza or something.
I can't remember exactly.
Those aren't the same thing.
There's so much going on with this, and honestly though, Democrats I've been seeing are kind of seeing this as a win in a sense, because did it take? It went nowhere. Like nothing happened because of this, honestly, but. It just is turning the American people against Pam Bondi. Like it was so embarrassing for Pam Bondi
Yeah.
That, I mean, if you asked her, it was probably a win.
Like on a national stage too.
Yes.
Just like you just are sort of being lampooned in a way of just like.
Also, the representative that this part was funny. The representative that called Pam Bondi called anti-Semitic, or claimed that she like was anti-Semitic. That representative finished her thing was like, by accidentally calling her secretary, and Pam Bondi's like, I'm the attorney general, and the representative was like, oh, I couldn't tell, like it's like so bad. It was like so aggressive, like. But they're not afraid to get. What's kind of nice is that the Democrats like here aren't afraid to get dirty. They'll yell. They'll like actually like be very, very blunt with her, and it's nice to see that they're not backing down at all.
Like, yeah,
which is what we need right now.
It's kind of like we've talked about this many times on this show, and I feel like it's a point Carlo would make, honestly. But just like you don't want like it to come to this point, to be at this level where it's you kind of have to, they're not fighting dirty, but like that's sort of a manner that you wouldn't normally sort of see in this context. But it's like, like they have, and it's kind of like we're at a point where taking that stand in whatever kind of form you can is helpful, especially in this case where the attorney general is just like lying, and you get to sort of, for lack of a better word, like take the piss out of her a little bit.
It's like you said, you don't want bad stuff to happen, but the more bad stuff you see happen, especially with stuff like this, is like the more people are gonna start, like especially with midterms coming up next year.
Yeah,
this stuff's important,
and like I'm not like hoping that they like clean up their act at all or anything, but I'm thinking like if you're on their like PR team, or if you're like whatever for the White House, or how are you not like, hey guys, like we need to turn this shit around?
Dude.
Because like we've talked about it a couple times, but just like approval ratings are down, like people's like frustration is up, like you going out there and trying to save face and doubling down, like it's just, I mean that's another like kind of Trump like token behavior, is just the doubling down and just the like I am never wrong. And it's like you're kind of shooting yourself in the foot, and it's like, do I want them to, I would like them to course correct and be normal, and like not have all this like horrific shit, but it's like like you're not, that's not gonna either sort of change people's opinion in sort of a positive way, or lead to like you're just kind of digging your own grave.
Yeah. Going to the PR, I do think that the White House has probably like the most hardworking PR team of all time. I couldn't imagine what it must take.
I almost feel like, do they have one?
It's possible they even don't.
Like I'm sure this would be information that is out there, but it's like a lot of the communication seems like it comes like directly from Caroline Leavitt, Pam Bondi, Christina, and Trump, sort of unmitigated. So yeah, I really don't know.
So kind of going into that, I want to go a little off agenda here, because I feel like there was something we didn't talk about last episode. It was like the day after I think we filmed. It came out, was the whole President Trump deleting the racist video of the Obamas.
Yeah, I forgot about this.
So I don't believe we talked about this last episode, because it was just right. I think it was the day after we filmed.
Yeah.
But so it was such a weird thing, because like the only thing people saw was that, and Trump has been saying time and time again how it was about the election being rigged and all this and that, which crazy we're still talking about this, but like, and so he said it was like, oh, it was a Lion King thing. It was, I didn't know, and he said that he didn't know that the racist thing was at the end, which I don't think he's ever actually called it racist. Like, because he'll never admit he did anything wrong.
Yeah.
And so he said it wasn't him who posted it. Yeah, with that whole video. So Trump actually never apologized. He never apologized for posting it. He said someone else posted it on his True Social account. So there's a whole can of worms with that. But also, someone asked him if that person was fired, to which he said no. Like, No, there was no
because it's me.
Yeah.
I'm the person.
I cannot fire myself.
I
actually.
cannot fire myself. I would be bad, and that would be very wrong. Like,
what would you American people do without me? Like,
I just, it's one of those things where it's like, okay, you know, sure. Whether it was an accident or somebody else posted it or whatever, like it's super messed up, but it's also like it got made in the first, like somebody made that video in the first place.
Yeah.
Like,
and
the fact that I can't even imagine like the Obamas like reaction. Just
I don't
like,
think they've said anything, which I haven't
probably
seen
fair
any,
enough.
Yeah,
Like, I don't think you credit that with any sort of response.
Oh my God, yeah. And so, well, if you'll hear Trump talk about it and say it was a long piece about voter fraud. I believe that pretty much is a direct quote. And and he's like, oh, there's a little thing at the end about the Lion King. It's like that is not like if you haven't seen the video, I actually haven't seen I haven't seen the first half of it or whatever. I've only seen the final pictures where it depicts the Obamas as monkeys, which is racist for numerous reasons. And also at one point it was saying that, oh no, he was just saying that, I believe Karen Levitt, I could be wrong on this, was saying that, oh no, he was just depicting the Democrats as animals. And now it's not that. Now it's, oh, it was a Lion King thing. And it was actually about voter fraud the whole time. And it's like, can we get our story straight? Can we if you're gonna do something this fucking terrible, can you at least get your story straight on the excuses of it? Because you just look like a bunch of fucking...
It's almost like, I feel like, you know, you could apply this to a lot of different things with them, but it almost feels like a group presentation you did in like elementary school or middle school, where it's like everybody took like their own 1 or 2 slides, and it was like, okay, like you'll do, you know, slides like 3 through 6, and I'll do, like 7 through 9, and then we'll just kind of like briefly talk about it before like we present tomorrow. And then you go up there, and it's like one has like Sonic the Hedgehog, one has like a mitochondria, and one has like Superman.
I
it's
think
like, what? You guys didn't talk about this once.
It was like I think Carlo made that a claim with that. Like it was like the Tylenol, when they said Tylenol was the cause of autism, which, you know, that's lasted really long.
Oh my God.
Really long time.
I love that, like as soon as it was like announced, because they had to say something, it kind of got just buried. But anyway.
But I remember not Trump, Carlo saying that that it was like a 7th grade presentation you made the day before. Like it was
exactly,
the most like
exactly.
I don't think,
Bobby, what did you think? And it's just like, I don't know at all.
You weren't supposed to calling me here.
You were supposed to tell me what I was supposed to say. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
oh my God, it's.
I mean, like, I hope at least with all of this that, you know, you guys at home are able to watch us react to it and laugh a little bit. Because it's so ridiculous. It's like, I don't know. This show is like how at least I like deal with all of this. It's like I can't.
This is how I cope with the news. Like when I saw that, like the Trump and the racist post, and I see this stuff with Pam Bondi, like a part of me is like I get so angry for a minute, and then it's like, you know, I can like it's nothing until I have a conversation about it and like I'm actually able to sit down and laugh at how fucking ridiculous this shit is.
Well, and also to know you're not crazy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like that's what I think.
Exactly.
I think the big thing is not to go on too much of a tangent, but I feel like a lot of the time, if you're like watching news via like social media or whatever, it gets really like, you know, the severity and the realness is there, and it is like important to take seriously. But I think it's also important to talk to somebody and be like, hey, like we're not crazy, right? Like this shouldn't be normal.
Yeah, like that is a good point, because I feel like there's so much going on that like at a certain point we do have to understand, like it's important to talk to someone and be like, yeah, this isn't normal what's happening. This is insane.
And also on that same vein, like I guess on a more serious note potentially, but like I've heard people talking about too with like ICE in Minneapolis and stuff like that, and just because that's gone so far, and with kind of every new little thing that comes out that like reveals them for like the like violent like group that they are, to like recognize that like this is not like where this should be. Like eventually you might start to get sort of like desensitized to it, and it's important to be like, no, like ICE is supposed to be like a behind the desk job where you like look at like files and stuff, and like, you have your like you have a couple border agents down in like El Paso, not like this. So,
like, and the crazy thing too is that, like, I mean, we're gonna be experiencing a lot of this crazy news for a while now, because I mean, with the 3 million Epstein files that got released, like, it's gonna take months to go through all that. Like these like new, what is it?
Didn't we hear something about this I mean, Sam and I have a class together, and I believe it was maybe a New York Times.
I believe it was New York Times, like, saying it would take at least 3 months to.
It was like if you had 50 reporters reading like just the Epstein files for like all day, like 9 to 5, it would take like I think it's 3 or 6 months or something like that.
Like, there's
like 3 million of them.
Like, it's possible the craziest stuff we haven't heard yet, which is honestly scary. And, well, I mean, even in that the congressional hearing, they were still talking about how Trump's name is still blocked out in certain portions. Like, they can tell that his name is still being blocked out. And people would use their 5 minutes to bring up specific files and be like, and talk about them and be like, why is this redacted? Or it's like it's so hard to focus on like one page of the files.
Yeah.
Because there's just so much, and so it's tough. But
and I think the thing is, like, just you gotta give props to the big time journalists who are doing that work, and will probably be doing that work for a long time to try to kind of like make sense of all of that for the rest of us who just, I mean, like, no one person, I mean, I guess you technically could, but like no one person can like read and understand all of that information. Mm-hmm. So the collective like work is going to be, it's going to take a while, but
I couldn't even imagine how depressing that job is. Like, if you're
professional
one of
Epstein,
a professional Epstein file reader,
like at that point, you know what I mean? Like, if that's your assignment from the Times, like, oh my God.
Like, the fact that that's probably someone's job.
Most definitely.
Most definitely, yeah. There's someone's job someone's job is they go to work.
And if not journalists, like DOJ, who had to go through and block stuff out and whatever.
Honestly, I mean, like, with the DOJ, imagine if you're just like a regular person who has like morals, and like is reading this and it has to find a way to spin it into something that isn't terrible. Like,
if you have like morals, if you have like an ethical code at all,
dude. Like, to actually, like, to listen to Pam Bondi or listen to anything going on right now and think that it is normal, you either like the most ignorant person of all time, or you're actually, I'm trying to find the right words here. I don't know. Okay, here it is. You're either the most ignorant person ever, or you're corrupt. Like, you're actually, like
either you believe it because you just have kind of fallen down, or you're just turning a blind eye, because it's like there's really no other option. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's so apparent. It's
so obvious, and like you really have to not be paying attention to see what's going on and think everything is okay, or you're just selfish and ignorant, which I guess good for you.
I mean, yeah, we knew, we knew that's where you were.
Yeah,
honestly.
we knew where you were this last Sunday. Watching the Super Bowl. Okay, we know which channel you turned on.
Do we want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, we can talk a little about that, a little more.
Because this has also been kind of at the center of national politics, albeit kind of like sort of honestly you know what's funny is, for as big a deal and for a big like a monumental event, I feel like, as like the Super Bowl and the halftime show and all the meaning that was packed into it, with like the rest of like national news, it's like kind of a blip on the radar.
Yeah.
Which is like, that's nuts. But
Super Bowl's a little bit of old news now, by the time this comes out at least, but it was still like a pretty good cultural moment.
Yeah, I mean, I think having, especially, I saw an edit actually of Kendrick's halftime show, sort of like clips and stuff like spliced in from Bad Bunny's and stuff too, and people were saying that like it sort of felt like two like sides of the same coin, or they were kind of like talking about the same thing in kind of a different way. And just like it's funny because we said something I think before recording that the actual game was kind of
it's a little boring.
It was a little bit boring.
I mean, like, the only nice thing about it, and I did prefer watching this one to the last one, only because I'm not an Eagles fan, so I guess that's a little different in my sense. But like, I mean, in the sense that it was the last one was such a blowout that it was like, okay, well,
You
the
knew
game's
it
over.
was- yeah.
You know where it was going. And but this one, at least, it was always like a 2-score game for the most part, and so there was always a sense of like maybe Drake May will pull
Yeah,
through it, but
like who knows? Like which way's gonna go?
yeah,
But in both cases, I feel like it was I don't know. I'm somebody who was kind of like not super invested in either team or whatever. So
Yeah.
I was really waiting for Bad Bunny and to see kind of like what would happen with like all the TPUSA
yeah.
like stuff and how there was like 10 people that showed
Which is
up
funny.
or whatever.
I don't know how true this is, but I do know Gavin Newsom posted something on Twitter. I think that he posted like an ad that was put out for people to go to the Turning Point thing, and it was like you'll get $200 and a free Kid Rock concert shirt. I don't know. I don't know how true that is, but I was like, that's incredible.
Man, if that's true, that's incredibly funny. But like, if not, I think that's just funny on Gavin.
It's still
Newsom's
funny,
part.
but there's already been like 2 things with the Turning Point one as well. First off, Kid Rock admitted that it was not live, that it was pre-recorded.
He admitted to it.
Yeah, he admitted that it was, and also he did say it was, he didn't lip sync. There was rumors that he lip synced. But let me see if I can find the Kid Rock quote. But
I love how that's a thing that people were like, oh, like he was like that's your issue. Honestly, at the end of the day, like that's your issue with the Kid Rock performance. I feel like that's I don't love the idea, but it's like okay, like people do that for concerts all the time. More the fact that like okay, like why were you playing at this thing in the first place?
and I think we can both say that like we're not the biggest Bad Bunny fans. I'm not that. It's more like we just don't like
It's
listen
more
to him.
yeah, like he wasn't super on my radar until
Yeah.
recently. Just kind of I have a kind of minimal like sort of knowledge of hip hop, and I've been trying to listen to more. But I will say after like watching it and stuff like that, and getting or like rather like seeing like clips of the songs around and stuff like that, I'm like I've been trying to listen to, more, because it was just such I don't know, it was so impactful. Like I remember I think I said to you the other day of when he brought out at the end like the Puerto Rican flag.
That's right.
And
Yeah.
sort of like naming all the countries. I was just like felt so patriotic. Like
yeah.
for like countries that like I have, and I know Puerto Rico isn't a country.
Yeah.
But like for the culture that I'm not even a part of. You know what I mean? I was just like, it was so heartwarming, because I can't even imagine what like the like Latin community is feels towards. Like it just must have been like so incredible.
Yeah, not only that, there was a sense of like unifying. Like it felt extremely American in the sense of it. I felt like there was, when he listed off all those countries too, it felt like we're all in this kind of together kind of thing, and you don't get those feelings very often, especially now. Everything is so divided, and I mean more recently you have seen more people siding with like I think Democratic idea. I mean, you see Trump's approval ratings are as low as it's ever been. You see more people are going on the side of a Democrat, but still, there's such a divide, and it's less between. I almost feel like it's less between like Republicans and Democrats, and more the public and the government. Like that's what I'm
Yeah.
seeing now. It's more just like everyone is so against what the government's doing now, and the government's just seeing how far they can push this needle.
Yeah, one thing about the whole like all the countries and the unity thing, I do believe that I remember hearing in like a Latin America like studies course that I took at one point that sort of all of the kind of countries in like Latin America will say like that they are American.
Yeah.
Sort of talking about like the kind of North, Central, South America sort of thing that he is that Bad Bunny sort of like puts on display there, because he does mention the United States and Canada, saying, and the football saying like together we are America. Like
Yeah.
it's this thing of like that is a shared identity at the end of the day, like that whatever, and that they specifically like I think a lot of times like Americans will be specifically referred to sort of like separately, not like as apart from the kind of American identity, but like just because like being specifically from the United States. And that was I think that was just like a really good nod
Yeah.
from from that place, and yeah, the whole kind of like, it's not like us versus them sort of thing. Like I think it's one of those things that's always been that way, but like gets kind of lost sometimes.
Yeah, I think, I mean, even with my minimal understanding of the Spanish language, it was still a lot of fun, and that's what's nice about it. And I've heard people saying it's like, man, I can't imagine being the person that has to follow up Kendrick Lamar and Bad Bunny in this next halftime show.
Man, I wonder like, I wonder how he felt about it, because it's just like, I wouldn't want to follow Kendrick even. You know
God.
what I mean?
Yeah.
But he seems like pretty like obviously he did an amazing job, and he seemed pretty confident. But still, I would have been scared.
What I like that we're seeing though is that it feels like less of a concert and more of like there's more of like a narrative to it now. I feel like they especially these last two have had some meaning behind it, and it's actually been nice to like.
Yeah. It's far more like artful than I feel like it used to be. Like if you're kind of in our like age bracket, which I'm sure you are, but like and you remember like being like a young kid and watching like Maroon 5 and like Adam Levine just like taking his shirt off and stuff, like it wasn't always this way.
The Weeknd grabbing the camera, like
yeah. That might have been the start of that era, but where he was trying to do a little bit more with it.
Yeah, I guess going away from Super Bowl now, we'll get back a little more into the real news, which is just a lot more tragic. Taking this from AP News, that quote, the Trump administration on Thursday, what day was that? That is the 12th.
We should say we're recording on the 13th.
We were recording on the 13th. Yeah.
So this will probably come out, I think, what is that, the math? The 16th?
Yes.
So just keep that in mind.
Yeah. But the quote is that Trump administration on Thursday revoked a scientific finding that climate change is a danger to public health, an idea that President Donald Trump called, quote, a scam. Like, it's one thing to say climate change is a scam, do whatever, this and that. Now we're getting serious. Now we're actually like causing real harm, and this kind of got this whole like scientific finding that got put into place, I think, was during the Obama administration.
I believe it was 2009.
2009. Yep. The Environmental Protection Agency started looking into climate change and greenhouse gases, all this stuff.
Yeah.
And considered it a danger to public health.
Yeah, I think President Obama signed the Paris Accords. Is that what it's called?
I believe so. Yeah.
Which I think we've since been pulled out of, obviously, with Trump's administration. I think actually Trump 1 might have been the time that they pulled out of it. But I believe I saw on a New York Times Instagram post about that. I guess it's that decision is projected to raise U.S. like emissions by I think like 10% or 15% like over the next couple of years. And I could be wrong maybe about the timeline, but I do remember it saying that like because of that and because like companies can take that as kind of they can take that and run with it. It will lead to more emissions.
And I do want to kind of stress the importance of this real quick because, like, this idea of like, oh, it's just going to get hotter, less snow. Like, there is a serious danger to public health. And to quote this AP article, which the headline here is scientific studies calculate climate change as health danger while Trump calls it a scam. A quote here is that a new study published this week found that 2.2% of summer deaths in Texas from 2010 to 2023 were heat-related. Quote, the quote here is, climate change brings more frequent intense heat to Texas. So it's not like we're getting warmer and we're starting to swim more. People are dying. Like, this is not...
Yeah.
And like, we're only going to see that go up, especially now with... And they made it a money thing because there's a whole thing about cars, and let me see if I can find the exact...
But like,
quote here.
We're not talking about like, I think I know global warming is kind of it sometimes feels ubiquitous with climate change, but climate change is the real more accurate term, and really is better describing it. Like we're not just talking about raising temperatures. We're talking about long-term weather changes and patterns and just how things are. And that doesn't always mean warmer. That sometimes means it just means more extreme, typically. So, obviously, if you're watching this and you're a Westchester student or you live in the kind of general Southeast Pennsylvania, New Jersey area, you would know. Recently we had a sustained period of time where temperatures regularly, and the feels like was in like the negatives. Like it was like negative 15, like a couple days in a row, for part of the day. And it's like, I grew up in New Jersey, but like I can never remember a time that was the case. You know what I mean? Like I'm sure it's happened before, but like, you know, we're you know, and in the summer, you know, a lot of days like are getting like above 100. It's like every year I feel like is well, no, I feel like I remember seeing studies saying, I believe they're on the New York Times if you want to go look, but that like the last 15 years were each the hottest year on record.
Yeah.
So, you know, we're not talking about like, oh, it's kind of hot out, you know, let me grab a lemonade. Like this is much more substantial than that. And to kind of wave it off as being, you know, hoax, and essentially, you know, doing it for corporate profit, essentially. I you know, I don't know definitively. I don't know. I'm not in the man's head, but I can imagine that that's like where his head is at.
Yeah.
Is just it. You know, a lot of the things obviously we've talked about at length are, you know, without the people's best interest. But this is just like a different level.
Yeah, and so the quote here is that I really like how the AP puts this, because the quote here is, in a Thursday event at the White House, Trump disagreed, saying, "It has nothing to do with public health. This is all a scam, a giant scam." That's the end of the Trump quote. Then AP keeps going and goes, "Experts strongly disagree." Like, and the whole thing with the cars, it wasn't in the article. I found one from the New York Post. So they're like finding here is that like by doing this, by like getting rid of this finding so that the EPA doesn't have to look into it anymore, I guess, is that it will lower car costs by an average of $2,400 per vehicle. Because apparently
It'll lower car costs?
It'll lower car costs because, so the quote from this New York Post article, regulating greenhouse gas emissions under the 2009 policy added, quote, incalculable large cost to car makers and consumers. And so, yeah, that's kind of the whole idea, is that so cars having to now abide by this policy to not emit as many greenhouse gases was making cars more expensive.
Have you guys ever like been like on the street when like an old car rolls by and you're just like, whoa, like,
yeah, you can feel it.
It's like, yeah, there's a reason that those policies were put in place, like, you know.
Which, I mean, this can go into a whole other topic of, are people to blame, or are these big corporations the ones to blame for what's happening to climate right now? I mean, look, obviously cars are like, the amount of emissions cars have are bad, but at the end of the day, I feel like they're still doing a lot of blaming on the American, not America, everyone, on the people, instead of these big companies that are
like you're the one
CO2.
holding the cards, making the choices of like not making this stuff more sustainable and whatever. And I think another thing I just thought of was like, you know, you think about how long it kind of took to get to this point, and like, you know, the amount of usage and the amount of like things we had to burn to get like to this point. And it's like, honestly, like, you know, our like climate and everything is way more resilient than I think we give it credit for, because it took like, you know, whatever, like the Industrial Revolution was like 1880s, so it's like maybe like roughly like 180 years or something like that, like of like sustained global use for it to get to this point, and continual like choices, you know what I mean? And then like this is just enabling that essentially.
Yeah, and it's also a whole other thing about, like, you know, there's a lot going on in America right now, and one of the least complaint I'm hearing on the lesser end is the price of cars. Like, I don't like, this wasn't a, I mean, yeah, obviously you can say cars are expensive, of course they're cars, but out of all the top like high button issues right now, car price is the number one right now. That and car prices are being lowered at the cost of the environment. I won't. I mean, I can't imagine I'm gonna feel good about saving a few. Well, I guess also they're saying 2,400. They say a lot of things. It's probably not gonna be that high, but not that I'm an expert in any of this.
We don't know about like the car market, but like. And like, yeah, they're expensive. Like everything is. Like
everything. Yeah. What about groceries? Like, what about all this other stuff that they're just ignoring? Yeah. You know, they were totally okay starving the American people when food benefits went away. But you know, let's make sure that they get an affordable car.
Yeah, an affordable car. Which, by the way, is probably like still gonna be like out of reach or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, it's this like it doesn't really do like a whole lot.
I'm not gonna feel good about buying a car if I know that, especially if I know that what I'm doing is as bad and dangerous as it is. Like,
yeah, at the end of the day, like, you know, you're between a rock and a hard place a little bit.
Like, Trump and the administration might be able to like be blissfully ignorant to the fact that like the damage they're doing. And like I said, I know it's not like totally. I mean, up to the American people for this whole climate change thing, but like people should be able to take any step they want, and their effect. And so if they need a car and now they have to buy one that's now like is badly negatively affecting the environment. I mean, it's just
like some people have the capability to make a different choice and to turn away from it, but it's like a lot of people, you're gonna force their hand.
You're for and like I said, the Trump administration, all of them, they might be able to turn a blind eye to it. Oh, who cares? The car's cheaper now. I mean, I don't know.
But it's like not to do that quote, but like you exist in a context. Like we all exist in a context, and this is gonna be a part of it. Yeah. But I mean, I feel like we may have kind of, it's a lot of stuff we've said before. Just their kind of negligence, and we could talk about the DHS. If you feel like we've
I feel like we've touched on that. So we might be in for another somewhat level of a government shutdown again, in a sense with the Homeland Security.
Which it was funny just before we get fully into it. Sam and I were checking like our channel views the other day, and the top viewed one is titled it was like government shutdown, Bad Bunny, and Saudi Arabia, and I was just like, and that was from 4 months ago, and I'm like, and we're right back at it.
Honestly, we're touching on two of those things again, so it goes
no
full
Saudi
circle,
Arabia for today. I think I don't know.
let's hope. But so yes, I'm getting this from PBS. So it looks like. Let me just kind of read this. It seems that. So remember, like there was the kind of the government shutdown. With the government shutdown, it feels like there was stuff put in place, but it was to keep the government running again after it was like 5 weeks or something like that. But those are all temporary. They were like, let's push this problem to a different date, and I think we're starting to see the repercussions of that right now.
I think we might have mentioned this before, but I believe it was like we might have mentioned this a while ago, but I believe that the thing that actually caused the shutdown a while ago was about spending on healthcare subsidies, not the actual annual budget.
Yeah.
And so now we're at the point where it's a little bit into the year, and they are trying to do. I believe that's what it is, right? It's the actual Congress trying to pass their budget, and DHS being. A big issue in that, as obviously their funding has been. So
the Homeland Security is that was only temporarily funded until February 13th, which is today, but the rest of the federal government is funded through September 30th. So that stuff is still being pushed ahead. But to kind of quote this and why it's being shut down is a quote from PBS. Essentially, it's because Trump Democrats request that Homeland Security funding be stripped from a broader spending package to allow more time for negotiation over demands for changes to immigration enforcement, like a code of conduct for federal agents and a requirement that officers show identification. And Homeland Security was temporarily funded only through February 13th. So basically, Democrats wanted changes to the Department of Homeland Security when it comes to immigration enforcement. Like, it says like a code of conduct for federal agents, which you would hope they already have.
But they definitely don't.
And the fact that and officers should show identification. These are just basic things, and yet they're struggling with this concept. Like, they cannot, I guess Republicans in a sense cannot fathom the idea of a federal agent officer having a code of rules and proving that they are a federal agent. I don't know.
Like, I feel like, every police officer has, has their badge number, and if you ask them, like they're supposed to tell you, and they're supposed to be able to divulge this information about how to get in contact with the people who, are overseeing their work and stuff like that. So if they do, God forbid, do something like heinous, like you can hold them to account. But it's like you would think for an organization that is, I'm only saying similar in a way that they are sort of like. You know what I mean? Like they're only sort of like tangentially similar, to have even that kind of like basic level of accountability.
Yeah. And so, when it comes to the agencies that are kind of being impacted here, we have U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, U.S. Customs and Border Protection, the Secret Service, and the Federal Emergency Management Agency. Also, the Transportation Security Administration, also known as TSA, is being affected here. And so like, you may think this might not affect you. It will, especially if you're trying to travel. And people are saying that this actually is a bigger problem than you think for TSA agents, because it's like they're just recovering. Think about it, they might still just be recovering from the 43-day shutdown. Yeah. And now they might be shut down again. And so it looks like they will be working, but it says but they will work without pay until the funding lapse is resolved. So, and
man, like you gotta feel for those people who work in transportation, just trying to like help out at airports and stuff, and like, or not help out, but you know what I mean, like work at airports and are trying to just make sure people like get to their like destination safely, as much as like, you know, TSA, everyone jokes is a hassle sometimes, but like, it's definitely, I know the first shutdown was tough for them. So
yeah, it's and so we might be seeing that again. And it's a quote here is that it's about 95% of employees at the TSA are deemed essential. Like they're essential workers now not getting paid for their job. I can't imagine this will just be like a quick thing either. Like this is probably gonna take a while to resolve.
Yeah, if the last one was a good, you said it was like 40 something days, right?
43 days.
43. So you're talking about over a month. You know what I mean? Like, and I'm sure, I don't know what the kind of the pay range is for TSA agents. And the different like sort of varieties of people that might work there, different types of jobs. But like, I'm sure it's not like you're not like rolling in dough.
I cannot. Yeah, I was thinking too. Yeah,
like you're probably just trying to like put food on the table and pay your rent and stuff like that. Yeah. Probably working class people, and it's just like, hey, how would you like to not? You still have to work at your job that is incredibly taxing, but also we're just not going to pay you, and we don't know how long that's going to be. Like
Oh my God. PBS says here that a TSA official warned in testimony to Congress that employees may begin calling out sick or taking unscheduled absences as the shutdown progresses, which would lead to longer wait times for passengers to get through airport security and board their plane. Like, this is gonna like if that's actually true, if the TSA, which I wouldn't blame the TSA agents here, they're getting actually screwed over for months now. If they start just leaving, like this could be a huge problem for air traffic. And
I'm sorry, to everybody in college, who's trying to go to Miami, you know what I mean, for whatever, that flight, that flight's that's not happening.
It's gonna be 5 hours to get to your plane, and
it's the kind of thing where like airports are already something I feel like people can universally agree are generally taxing and are difficult, and there's a lot of security, and there's like reasons for all of that. But
oh my God, if Carlo heard this, bro, he already hates the airport enough. If he finds out that
I was gonna say, I feel like I'm channeling his energy a little bit, because it's just like that just sounds absolutely brutal, and it's like, and I feel so bad for everybody who and also I'm sure there are other sort of branches of people in the the federal government who are pretty kind of like rank and file, who are not nice. I don't feel no sympathy for them.
Well,
but like if you're not getting paid, like
I was kind of thinking about that, because it does say that the U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement would be affected. So I'm wondering how that, like, what that means.
I didn't even think about that.
Something tells me a lot of these ICE agents are so angry and. I don't know what word to say that's not rude. They'll just do it for free.
It would be an interesting thing to see play out of how many of them stick to their guns and do it because they like believe in something.
They gotta love the game, You're telling me I get to beat up immigrants for free? Oh man, like
what kind of like that's gonna be the real it's. I just feel like you're really like it's another level of like you're separate, like wheat from the chaff kind of thing, of just like if you can stick in that job under like conditions where you're not getting paid, like, man, I can't
there's a specific level of evil that requires
I don't have the words I think that can be expressed on this show. You know what I mean? Like
it happens a few times.
On like Carlo season 1 level angry about it. You know what I mean? Like I just can't.
Yeah, I mean, look, there's a lot to be angry about this. It looks like so. I mean, like the other thing is that it does look like Secret Service and the U.S. Coast Guard will continue to work. It does say though they could also miss a paycheck depending on the shutdown's length. We'll see. I mean, like. last government shutdown, I mean, we saw it kind of blow. I mean, there was no right choice when it came to it. It was either like stuff. I mean, like either people weren't going to get fed or healthcare was going to rise, and so Democrats were forced to choose. And so I'm kind of hoping it doesn't lead to another situation like that. And I know some people might be thinking like, oh, airplanes and TSA still ran like last government shutdown and stuff like that. It's like, yes,
they ran, but like
that. Not only was it probably not as good. Also, this is the second time. Like,
yeah, in the span of has it been more than what, like, was 4 months, 5 months?
Not. I don't think even it was
not
what?
even.
It was
Yeah,
I think it ended in October, maybe November.
Yeah, so like we're not talking about like that long in between, and especially like it was like the holidays and stuff in between. Like I'm sure like whatever money people had was spread pretty thin, over that time. So.
Yeah, so I'm seeing here. I'm pretty sure it started on October 1st. Yeah, it started on October 1st and ended on November 12th. So that is what we're looking at. And so think about it. If like I don't know how pay works, especially with a government shutdown. If you get paid for all your work time after, or if people even worked, like how that works.
Yeah.
But I can imagine there was still a pretty big financial hit for these TSA agents to now only have about most of November, December, January, and hopefully all February. You have 3-4 months to get back on your feet, and guess what? You're back to not getting paid, and it's
the kind of thing where again, like, I wish that this administration would do the right thing, but they probably won't.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're kind of in their circle and you want to try to like save face, it's like, just accept that ICE is gonna need to have badges and accountability and stuff, because like Lord knows they won't like do anything about it, but at least if you like, you know what I mean, like it's the type of thing where it's like there's not much of a good kind of way to get out of it or deal with it, because that they probably won't they'll handle it super well, but just it's not worth like the damage to these everyday Americans.
And look, it's one thing when the Trump administration, whether it's Caroline Leavitt, Pam Bondi, Trump, JD Vance, they just say something stupid on X or they're dumb on True Social, but when you actually have something that like is really like hurting the American people and is like, I don't understand. Like I said, I don't understand how you can be so ignorant or corrupt to think like this is gonna pan out well for anybody.
I think it's one of those things where as I've mentioned a couple times this episode, like me and Sam are both in journalism classes, and one of the things I read recently for one of the classes is like this, the governments that do things like this, authoritarian-ish, governments. The goal is like this kind of like death of like an agreed upon truth, and it's like don't let these people kind of like sort of sway you from looking things up and finding out what the actual truth of the matter is. As much as it is, it's hard and it's tough, but making sure what's going on and not letting them kind of sort of tout whatever version of their story is really important. So try to keep that in mind.
Yeah, this administration knows that if you're angry for long enough, you're going to get tired. And the idea is that once you're tired, you'll stop being angry to the point you just think it's normal. And that is so dangerous to point. And it's tough to say, but you got to stay angry. You got to you got to I know it's tough. You're seeing something new in the news every day and it makes you just as angry as the day before, but it's important to stay angry. Keep speaking out, keep telling other people what you're seeing and hearing. And because the more you just sit back, and not sit back and just let it happen, but start to think that it's normal, you're letting them win, and you're letting the corrupt get more corrupt. And I don't know, it's really tough. It's really tough to ask people to stay informed nowadays because it's really hard. It's really hard to sit there and look at the news and say, wow, this is what's going on in the world right now, and nothing's kind of being done about it.
Yeah.
And I guess the only hope in that is that there will be something one day. The midterms are coming up and later this year. and I think that will be a huge change, and so that's something to look forward to.
Yeah. This it might be a little bit cheesy of me to bring up. I'm a big Star Wars fan. And in one of the TV shows that's on Disney Plus called Andor, there's a character from the first season who who's supposed to be kind of like the more like politically minded one, who at one point has kind of this speech about like authority being like brittle and like it breaks and like it there's like leaks and things happen because it's like they're trying so hard. And then at the end of the speech he says, remember this, try. And it's like just every little bit of effort, every little like sort of like conversation or anything you have is helping to kind of keep things or try to keep kind of like normalcy like in view, and that like one day we can kind of like get back to that. So try to keep that in mind going forward.
Yeah.
Keep tuning in here, keep reading up on like journalism.
Yeah.
As much as social media is easy, we all fall into it. I fall into it like for sure, but like read the good work journalists are doing and keep on keeping on for sure.
Your effort will pay off. It's gonna take some time, but it will pay off. And
I feel like every week we say like hang in there.
Hang in there. Like, look, if we're still coming back every week doing this podcast, you can come back every week and watch. Like,
President Newsom is coming down the pipeline, guys.
Gavin Newsom is coming soon.
Gavin Newsom. He's on his way. I promise.
Vice President Bernie. It's gonna happen. It'll happen soon, guys. Don't worry.
Yeah.
Everything's gonna be so perfectly fine after that. I promise. But no, please stay in there. Please be good to yourselves and good to the people around you.
Know that we care about you. People around you care about you.
Yes.
And keep it up.
Yeah, keep it up. And you know what? And this is why I'll take time to thank you for tuning in. I know this was kind of a different episode. Little changes here with positionings in the desk, but I really hope you enjoyed. And I thought this was a really great time talking to you. I know we don't get to
I don't get to be like on this side of
me and
things.
Carlo, but I really hope you were comfortable with this whole change up. And yeah, thank you so much for tuning in. I don't know if you have any.
Yeah, and we'll be back to it. So you'll be back to your regularly scheduled programming soon enough. But thank you so much, and we hope you have a great week.
Yeah. All right. Thank you so much for watching.